Welcome to another edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up. During this program, we will highlight the agenda items presented to the Lakeville City Council at their November 18th, 2013 meeting. First highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5B, Police Department Monthly Report. And to give the background information on this agenda item is Acting Chief of Police John Kornman.
Again, just a reminder of our mission statement in partnership with the community that we serve. We are dedicated to reducing crime, problem solving, and ensuring the quality of life in Lakeville. Part 1, crimes. As we're all aware, no homicides to date this year. Criminal sexual conducts. In 2012, we had 2. This year, we have 1. We'll give you some more information on one of those cases in just a few minutes. We did have 1 robbery in 2013 in October. That was the Bremer bank robbery. Domestic assaults up 1 in October of 2013, and assaults are down. Property crimes, again, we are seeing some drops. Property damage year to date, we do like to see that one. 227 last year, down to 186 year to date total. That's an excellent number. Again, as we see as especially our own city property, that we like to see those numbers drop. Vehicle thefts, 0 for both Octobers, and again, thefts over 500 are about the same as last year. Again, thefts under 500, we're seeing a drop. Again, some of that could be attributed to the lack of theft from autos, which is a good thing. Keep those valuables out of your cars. Keep your cars locked and in the garages if you can. And again, the fraud calls, again, for this year are down rather substantially for 2013. Traffic crashes, up slightly in October of 13. I would attribute part of that to the construction that we've had going on. Speed citations for this year are up. Invalid driver's licenses again are up, and other traffic citations are up substantially this year over last October. DUIs again up by 2. Traffic stops overall down slightly. Citizen responsiveness, again, one of the numbers to point out. Medicals for this year continue again to be up. Animal calls again are holding steady. Alarm calls again are up substantially year to date. Suspicion calls down again, I would say by a large number, for 50 just for the month of October. All the other numbers are fairly consistent with last year. And as I said, I was going to point out just some of the things that aren't in the numbers and point out to council some things that we're doing. So tonight I brought in calls to date CAD incidents. In 2012, we had 32,448. What I did is I removed the traffic stops from both 2012 and 2013 and tried to show you the demand for service levels. In other words, citizens calling in for demands for service. As you notice, for 2013, we're up again by about 600 calls. One of the areas, or the 2 of the areas increase are alarms and medicals. So what I thought I'd do is just explain to you a little bit about what goes into those 2 types of calls, because they are rather common, but they're not real exciting most of the time. I took a typical alarm call at a business. 2 officers were dispatched to an alarm call. On arrival, they found an open door after going around the perimeter of the building. Both officers searched the interior of the building. They ultimately secured the building. Officers then cleared. One of those items of note, that's 34 minutes. 2 officers, that's 68 minutes time spent on that type of call. If we took all alarm calls for the month of October, 2,495 minutes, 2-car calls, 4,990, 6.91 of our shifts were devoted entirely exclusively to alarm response. Medicals, 61 hours at medicals for the month of October. That's a 2-officer call, so that's 122 hours, 10 12-hour days spent at medicals. Moving on to street crime unit activity. Officer Thor Howe finished his 2-year rotation in street crimes, and he was replaced by Officer Tom Stewart. Both officers attended training. Both Officer Taney and Officer Stewart attended the Street Crimes Operations School in St. Cloud for the month of October. They continue to have a lot of things that are in the works, and they've worked on some complaints that council has received directly, and continue to work hard. Both officers are out there doing exactly what we need them and want them to do for street crimes. LPD traffic officer activity for the month of October, a list of areas up there. Again, IPAVA near Eastview, Judicial and 168th, and a lot of the other areas that we get significant traffic complaints about. For the group behind me, I'd like to point out Flagstaff between 46 and Dodd Boulevard is, again, one of the places our traffic officer spends a great deal of time. Traffic unit issued 86 citations, 189 CAT incidents, 163 self-initiated activities with 3 arrests resulting from her activities for the month of October. October patrol primary issues, I-35 construction, being that that's been gone for a month, I think we know that that's been a wonderful thing to not have. Our bank robbery, and again, I'll get into that a little bit more. One of the things that we dealt with, our Halloween activity on the adult level was very busy this year. On October 26th, a notably very busy shift with 60% of the time spent by all officers was at the scene of a call. Extremely busy. We had 3 mutual aids. In other words, we had 3 other departments in the city at any given time that night. So again, the adults were extra into the tricks instead of the treats this year. The Investigations Division continues to work on the bank robbery at 17600 Cedar Avenue. Police Department and FBI are looking at some suspects. I did include a better shot of the suspect in this case, so if you're watching at home and you have belief that you know this person, again, we have gotten some tips based on this photograph. So I will point out there was a bank robbery solved in the North Metro, and a photograph like this, the gentleman had just been to court with his ex-wife and said that's what he was wearing. So that's how they solved that. So again, it may seem rather odd that we'd show a picture, but this kind of picture, but they can be solved this way. One of the criminal sexual conducts that I told you I would give you information on, we did have a violent CSC earlier in the year. That trial did take place. It was actually occurring over the last several weeks. It did also go down as a domestic, was charged out as a domestic. The suspect was found guilty of this first-degree CSC. Again, that is some of the details are too graphic to go into here, but this was a very difficult case. The patrol division and the investigators on this case did an excellent job, which led to a successful prosecution. This man has not been sentenced yet, but this one will be a good person to have sentenced for this crime. Another guilty plea. One of the incidents of the previous summer, back in August, we had basically it started at 4 o'clock in the morning and went until almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon with multi-perimeters, helicopters overhead. 2 of the 3 known suspects in that case were ultimately charged with first-degree burglaries. Those suspects did plead guilty. So we are happy to have a resolution to that very publicized case, and wanted the residents to know that those individuals that caused all that turmoil, 2 of the 3 were actually charged and convicted. The third one, there was information. We know who he is. We were not able to press charges against that individual at this time. That does conclude our October 2013 report. And as always, we are honored to serve and protect. And I stand open for any questions.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5C, Parks and Recreation Department Monthly Report. And to give the information regarding this agenda item is Parks and Recreation Director Brett Altergott.
This is the Parks and Recreation Report for October 2013. We'll start with the Arts Center. On October 12th, we had Billy McLaughlin play in concert. One of the things that was written in the bio about him that is unique is that after 20 years in the music business, Billy had a neurological disorder called focal dystonia. And what that is, it's called musician's cramp. So he had to learn to play the guitar like you see, left-handed and in a unique way. So there was about a period of 5 or 6 years where he didn't play, and he started playing again in 2006 and rejuvenated his career. So it was neat to have him come here, and he'll be back again over the Christmas season with a different concert. We also had our annual Ole and Lena from the October 18th through the 20th. We had 263 people attend that. And on October 26th, we had Monroe Crossing, and we had 260 attend that. Moving ahead to maintenance, remember we installed the batting cages up at King Park this year. This was the final step. We waited till fall to rip up that area, but we had to install a retaining wall. You can see the field in the picture on the left is up a little bit higher. So to make sure that we controlled the erosion and kept our egg lime and things in the batting cage, constructed a wall. That was done in conjunction with the LBA. That was part of those projects that were done this year. So that's all completed. All the batting cages are in, and everything is completely buttoned up out at King for this year. Also, we did bloom flail mowing operations throughout the park system. Those will be areas where we don't typically get to during the year. We'll do that every fall. We rent the tractor, seen in the picture, and we can get out and perform that. Cut a lot of buckthorn back, do a lot of trail maintenance, specifically out at Ritter to get it prepared for the cross-country ski season. And it's, without, we'd have a lot of overgrowth along those trails. Also with park maintenance, the fall fertilization and irrigation, winterization, all that takes place. Again, the crew does an excellent job, as our fields are always in tip-top shape and excellent condition, but without these practices, specifically the fertilization, they wouldn't be in that condition, which helps us continue to recruit those tournaments that come in on a weekly basis. Also, due to some donations that we received, with generous donations from the Orchard Lake Improvement Association and Laura Bruss, we were able to purchase the material and construct and install a canoe rack at Orchard Lake Beach. This was a project that came forward last year, and we needed to find the funds in which to build it. And again, with the generous donation from the Orchard Lake Improvement Association and Laura Bruss, we were able to make that happen this year. They were just installed early last week. Snowmobile season begins on December 1st, so hopefully we don't have snow, but the season does begin. Just so you know, we are working with the snow trackers with an alignment along Kenrick Avenue. If you remember, that's usually from 205th to 195th is a stretch where they've ridden in the right-of-way. With the trail construction out there, there's still room, but we're working with them on the alignment to make sure that the trail, the snowmobile riders stay off the trail, stay in the ditches. There's a couple crossovers. So we will be meeting with them. We've met with them once already. We're meeting with them again to make sure that we get it properly signed, as they value that connection, and so do we. And so we're encouraging anyone who rides that, please stay in the right-of-way, in the ditch line. On the recreation, October 26th, we had 2,000 attend a haunted forest at Mashad Park. It was a cool night, but overall an excellent night. The crowd was a little bit younger this year than in past years. We had a lot of kids within the trick-or-treating up in the Land of Amazement, a lot of hay rides, a lot of concessions. Not as busy back in the haunted forest, but still busy enough. It was steady throughout the entire night. We also, at that event, collected 580 pounds of food for the local food shelves, and without the help of 100+ volunteers, that event wouldn't be possible, so we want to thank them. Also this week, you'll see the winter spring brochure delivered in the mail. It went out today, so anytime this week, you should be seeing it in your mailbox. If for some reason you do not receive it by this time next week, please call our office, and we can have one sent to you, or you can also find it on the city website. Learn to Skate kicked off its 7th season. We had 148 kids registered for that program. On October 13th, at the Heritage Center, we had the Waffle Breakfast fundraiser. We had 591 people served. It was a very busy morning, and again, a very successful event. And the online auction raised approximately $10,840. That'll go towards the construction loan. So another very successful event for the Heritage Center. Also in October, we had 19 new members to bring our total up to 975, so still ahead of last year's pace if we're trying to compare years and with the switch of the facilities. So we're very pleased with where we're at. Also had Confessions of a Professional Eater, a presentation that was, again, well attended, and Halloween entertainment by individuals who participate in programs at the Heritage Center. On the project side, the Kenrick Avenue update. As you can see in these pictures, that's a picture of, I believe, wall number 2, and then the coffer dam on the top side by the lake. And you can see the helicals for the boardwalk in the distance on the lake picture. A few updates that we want to make the public aware of, and you as the council. We will not be able to complete 100% this year. The biggest thing that'll be pushed off is the paving north of the lake will be done in early 2014. The temperatures are just not conducive to paving at this time, and we want to make sure we get the best quality instead of just rushing to get it done. So you'll see that happen, but everything else that you see in the picture, the bridge will go in, the boardwalk will be installed. There'll be the paving north of the lake and restoration of that area that will happen in the spring of 2014. But more importantly, that we need to bring to everyone's attention is it's anticipated that on Friday, December 6th, Kenrick Avenue will be closed at the lake because on that day they'll be placing the bridge, and the crane will need to be taking up all the lanes in order to place the bridge. WSB has permitted with MnDOT and Dakota County for some detours for that particular day. So you'll see signage out there making the public aware. We are also going to go through and make sure all the businesses and homeowners affected by the closure are notified. And again, that closure is anticipated to be, it should only be for one day only. It's enough time to get the bridge in and get it in place. Lastly, upcoming in the months of November and December, recreation-wise, we really want to call attention to the December 7th. We have Santa's Secret Store at McGuire Middle School. The holiday, our Heritage Center Holiday Bazaar, it should be, and Holiday at Main in downtown Lakeville. All these run different points at a time, but basically between 9 and 2 during the day. More information on that can be found in the brochure and on our website. Also, at the Arts Center, we have the Holiday Art Sale and Empty Bowl fundraiser annual event. November 8th through the 24th, Trials, Tribulations, and Christmas Decorations, which is Expressions Community Theater. December 6th, Alton Scott's Soulful Christmas Concert. December 8th, Simple Gifts with Billy McLaughlin. He's making a return appearance. And December 13th through the 30th, we'll have Junie B. Jones and Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, and it's produced by the Plays the Thing Productions. That's a children's theater, so that is geared towards the children, and that actually is a book that my children have read as well. So that'll be something that if you have kids in grade school, it's an excellent play to bring them to. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 7, public hearing to consider the imposition of a service charge in the Downtown Special Service District. And to begin a series of presentations, here's Community and Economic Development Director Dave Olson.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My job tonight is just to introduce and give a brief summary of this item. This is an annual event with the City Council. I didn't realize, but looking at the background information, it was 15 years ago this year that the council approved the first initial establishment of the Downtown Special Service District. It was at the request of the businesses in the downtown to establish this district to provide additional funding for promotion marketing activities as well as doing aesthetic and beautification activities in the downtown. The summary of the most recent year's events will be provided by Ms. Judy Jumper, the DLBA, or Downtown Lakeville Business Association Executive Director. The budget being proposed for next year is exactly the same as it's been for the last several years at $27,500. A list of the assessments which are levied based on tax capacity of the commercial properties, and this is only imposed on commercial properties in the downtown, is attached for the council's information. So with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Jumper.
Thank you, Mr. Olson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're happy to be back here to give you our annual report, and as Dave said, you have the information, your background. So what you will see here tonight is basically the activities and events we have throughout the year that really makes up for that budget that Mr. Olson was speaking of. So our mission statement has remained the same since 1989, and that's to create a unique downtown business environment which blends the cultural, historical, and economic opportunities of a rapidly growing community situated in a major metropolitan area. We are run by a board of directors. 2 of our directors are here this evening, President Paul Hagelund of Paul Hagelund and Company, and Director Candy Retka of Discovery Financial Centers. The board of directors meets every month after our monthly membership meetings. And we also have an advisory board, and we try to meet on a quarterly basis. That gets kind of iffy now and then. But we do have, again, this evening, Nancy Smith, a property owner, as well as John Kosnick, which is a property owner. We have key objectives, and mainly it's really to promote our historic downtown and to make sure that our businesses in the downtown area are thriving. We have many partners, basically and most importantly, the City of Lakeville. We have the school district, the Arts Center, the ECF Parent Advisory Board, Panaprog Senior Center, 360 Communities, the Chamber of Commerce and CVB, the Farmers Market, the library, the Friends of the Library, and the Lakeville Resource Center. And most of those partners come to our monthly meetings, so we have really good involvement and partnership with them. These are the events that we presently have, and you will see when they all began, basically with the Holiday on Main in 1997. We did do Wednesdays on Main for a while. We tried a third Thursday, and we found that the effort and money put into those was really not effective. So we have really focused on these events, which have really been very worthwhile. And we begin in the spring with the breakfast with the Easter Bunny and egg hunt, and this is in partnership with the city's recreation department. We do have participation from our retailers. I think this year there were 17 of our downtown retailers that participated in the egg hunt. And this year was held at the Heritage Center, so we have a new place to go. The Farmers Market, the St. Paul Farmers Market, has been here for many years. As you know, they are in the Market Plaza on Wednesdays, and on Saturday they're at the Arts Center lot. And our big event this year was a block bash. Our very first event, we wanted to do something different to bring people downtown to see what our downtown is. We feel that during Panaprog there are so many people that they don't even know that there are all these nice little shops. So this was the first one we've had. It was in Market Plaza, and we had over 1,000 people in attendance. We have continued our chamber networking after hours. It's really a good opportunity for businesses that are in the chamber that aren't located in downtown to come down and see what we have to offer. Trick or Treat is held, in fact, we have that on the same day as the City Recreation Department, and we do ours in early afternoon so they can come and have fun and play. And this year we had the pumpkins donated, and we had, I think, over 130 children there, plus lots of parents. And it was really fun because the Lakeville South Cougar dance team girls came and volunteered. So they were very busy all day washing pumpkins and helping the children put stickers on the pumpkins. Our holiday lighting ceremony is coming up next Tuesday evening. Notice we changed it to a Tuesday, so we hope that you will all come. And this year, we will have the Lakeville South Encore singers performing. In the past years, we've had Lakeville North. We felt it was time to switch schools. And Main Street Coffee Cafe will again be serving refreshments. And again, Holiday on Main, the same day as the Santa and the Bazaar at the Heritage Center, we will be having our Holiday on Main, which is our one big major event of the year. And you will see from the pictures that it's a variety of the live reindeer, Mrs. Claus, Santa, the dance, Holly's has the dance recital at the Arts Center, trolley rides, and hairstyling by one of our salons. So it's a huge event and one that's really fun. And the retail committee, when I mentioned the budget, the events that the retail committee sponsors is not handled by our DLBA budget because it's a very select group. It's not really helping all of our businesses. So any event that the retail committee has, they share the responsibility and the funding of that event. So this is the ladies' night that they had last December, and we will be having another ladies' night on Thursday, December 5th. And the retail committee also had a spring fashion show at the Arts Center. And the Arts Center, again, is one of our great partners that we were able to use the facility both up and down. And the committee is planning to have another fashion show in the spring. And some other events that we're involved in, obviously the Panaprog celebration. We have our new enhanced website, which we encourage everyone to check it out. It's www.downtownlakeville.com. We're involved in a co-sponsor of the One Book, One Lakeville event. That's with the Friends of the Library. We are partners with as it relates to the Business Strategy Committee, where the Position to Thrive came about. And we've also been involved with staff as it relates to the downtown parking enhancements, specifically behind the Ben Franklin parking lot. So our goals continue to promote downtown, work with our partners. We are working also now on our action plan, and in fact, on December 11th, based on the presentation that City Administrator Mr. Milke gave us at our meeting last month regarding Envision Lakeville, we are having a joint boards and advisory board meeting on December 11th. We're going to take out our 2006 Downtown Development Guide, and in conjunction with the Envision Lakeville process, take a look at how we can be looking at some of the things we can do for downtown Lakeville. And with that, I will conclude and will respond to any questions.
Item number 7 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 8, public hearing on proposed assessments for weed, grass removal, and property maintenance code violations. And to give the information regarding this agenda item is Finance Director Dennis Feller.
Mayor and members of the City Council, this past year there was city staff notified a number of property owners that their grass was more than 8 inches tall and therefore in violation of city ordinances. They were given 7 days to correct the violation. Those property owners that did not cut the grass, the city contracted to have the grass removed. Before you tonight is a resolution certifying their weed and grass code violation, remediation. It's against 18 properties. It not only includes the cost of contractual mowing, but also administrative fees and interest at the rate of 18%. The total amount of the assessment is $33,297.83. You also received tonight a letter also from Jennifer and David Chu. And the Chus purchased property that was previously controlled by HUD. And while HUD was in possession of the property, we did have the weeds contractually mowed. The Chus, we've had communication with them, and we have assured them that we will work with them to the extent possible to help them collect from HUD or make sure HUD pays that prior to December 31st. But we are recommending that you proceed with a special assessment against the property. City staff recommendation is therefore approval of the resolution certifying the weed and grass removal, property maintenance for code violations, and acknowledge receipt of the letter from Mr. and Mrs. Chu. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Item number 8 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 9, public hearing to consider improvement project 14-02. And to provide the background information regarding this agenda item is Public Works Director Chris Petrie.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As always, my pleasure to be here with you this evening presenting the 2014 street reconstruction project. We're going to go through a brief overview of the project, and then, of course, we'll answer any questions from the council, and then it would be at the council's discretion to open the public hearing at that point in time. But first off, our project location for this year, or excuse me, for the 2014 street reconstruction project is in the Valley, all those areas you mentioned, the Valley Park area, Dodd Point, Niqua Village, Sunrise Village, and parts of Cedar Highlands. And you can see the majority of the project, of course, is east of Cedar Avenue, south of 160th Street. And you can see Dodd Boulevard running diagonally through the project there. And this is in similar areas as we've had some projects in the past few years, so I know the council's familiar with this area. A little about project background. Of course, the City of Lakeville has a very comprehensive pavement management program where our city streets are rated every 3 years, and they're prioritized for reconstruction based on their condition. Of course, that information is used to develop the city's capital improvement plan, where, like I said, those streets are programmed for reconstruction. A little bit more about this area and project background. We do have some water main maintenance issues in this year, or in the 2014 project area, along Garcia Way, as well as along Flagstaff Avenue. To take it a step further, if the council recalls, the council did authorize a feasibility report to be prepared back in August. That is following some neighborhood meetings that we had with all of the affected property owners. And then the public hearing, once we presented that feasibility report to the city council in October, the public hearing was ordered where we are tonight on October 21st. With that, I'm going to ask our project manager, Monica Heil with WSB and Associates, to go through the next few slides, and then I'll come up at the end and be prepared to answer any questions. With that, Ms. Heil.
Thank you, Mr. Petrie, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. A little more information on the proposed improvements within the 2014 street reconstruction project area. Within the Cedar Highlands neighborhood, there is water main replacement proposed throughout the entirety of the first and fifth editions. This is adjacent to the area that was reconstructed in 2012, where there was a significant water main break history. There was a portion of Garcia Way where the water main was replaced in 2012 that addressed an area of concentrated breaks. It was proposed to replace the remainder of Garcia Way with the project. Prior to starting work on the feasibility report, the city did perform some geotechnical evaluations in the area and looked at the soils and determined that they were corrosive in nature, similar to the soils that were encountered in 2012. Those corrosive soils can impact iron water main pipe that exists throughout the area, where it was evidenced by the break history along Garcia Way and those breaks that occurred in the 2012 project area. And therefore, in conjunction with the surface improvements proposed for the roadways, it is also proposed to replace existing iron water main within that project area with plastic water main to combat the corrosive nature of the soils in the area. There's also a concentrated water main break history along Flagstaff Avenue between Dodd Boulevard and Flagstaff Way. The soils in this area are not known to be corrosive, and so it is expected to replace this with iron pipe again to address the break history in that particular area. We've also talked in great detail with both members of the public and the council about improvements for Flagstaff Avenue. For a number of years, there have been concerns not only about speed, but about volume of traffic traveling down Flagstaff Avenue. And so we held neighborhood meetings earlier this year to talk with residents about some of those issues and identify potential traffic calming opportunities. At the August 1st meeting with members of the entire project area, we did discuss some of these concerns. It was evident that additional discussions were warranted, and we held a second neighborhood meeting on October 1st with just those residents along Flagstaff Avenue to speak more specifically about potential improvements and gather feedback from those folks. Back in 2012, there were 2 driver feedback signs, or the electronic signs that give feedback as to the speed vehicles are traveling along Flagstaff Avenue. Those were installed in 2012. They were effective in reducing average vehicle speeds. However, the existing driver feedback that is located in the northbound traveled lane for Flagstaff Avenue does need to be relocated. We obtained some permission from the gas pipeline company to temporarily install the driver feedback, that sign that exists today, but we do need to relocate that as a part of the 2014 street improvements. But beyond the driver feedback signs that are existing out there today, we also talked to residents about the potential to add bump outs as a part of the street improvements. Now, bump outs are a means by which to narrow the travel lanes for vehicles. It narrows the perceived roadway width along Flagstaff Avenue, but still permits on-street parking. So the bump outs are strategically placed to still allow residents in the area the opportunity to have guests or contractors park on the street adjacent to their homes while still producing the effect of the narrowed traveled lanes. It is proposed that at each of the intersections along Flagstaff Avenue, the bump outs would be constructed of concrete. This would help to reduce the crosswalk distance at the intersection of Jardine Path and 164th Street with Flagstaff Avenue. That is currently along one of the frequently walked areas to get to Parkview Elementary. The remaining bump outs that would be installed along Flagstaff Avenue would be mid-block bump outs. Those would be sodded to resemble boulevard areas with grass and what currently exists out there today. Those mid-block bump outs would house the relocated driver feedback signs that currently exist along Flagstaff, in addition to 2 new driver feedback signs that are proposed to be installed as a part of the project. And what I'm showing right here is an example of a bump out that was installed in the city of Rosemont. This is along 145th Street. There they installed some bump outs at an intersection that's used by students walking to school. They are concrete, which is what we'd be proposing to install at the mid-block locations, and it narrows the traveled lane, but as you can see on either side of the intersection, there's still room for vehicles to park. This is another example of a bump out. This is from the city of Edina. This is adjacent to a school zone, so you do see the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit posted because of its proximity to a school zone. But that represents a mid-block bump out. It's sodded, and on either side of the bump outs, there is still the opportunity for vehicles to park. In addition to the bump out improvements proposed along Flagstaff Avenue, the city is also proposing to replace the existing 48-inch concrete sidewalks with 60-inch concrete sidewalks. Now, this is in response to the feedback that was received at both the August and the October neighborhood meetings with residents in the area. The city does plow and remove snow from these sidewalks because of the proximity to Parkview Elementary. The sidewalk would remain in its existing location, but would be widened to the street side or towards Flagstaff Avenue on either side of the street in an effort to minimize impacts to the adjacent property owners. And widening the sidewalk in this manner would help and assist the city in its snow removal operations in this particular area. There was also a request from residents at the first neighborhood meeting to extend the existing sidewalk along 170th Street east to Jardine Path. Right now, there's a sidewalk that goes from Cedar Avenue to the easterly intersection of Georgetown Way with 170th Street and then terminates. By extending this sidewalk to Jardine Path, we would be providing a connection for residents of this neighborhood to the existing sidewalk system that exists along Jardine Path and elsewhere in the Valley Park area. The total estimated project costs are $10,236,000. Of those costs, approximately $5.147 million would be funded by city CIP funds. City utility funds would fund the water main replacement and any sanitary sewer improvements that are proposed, and city utility funds are estimated to contribute about $2.03 million. Special assessments would fund the balance of the project costs, and at this time, those are estimated at $3.055 million. Within the project, there are different improvements proposed for different areas of the project. Within Niagara Village, which consists of Flagstaff Court North and South, the curb is in good condition, and so spot curb and gutter replacement is proposed within those particular streets of the project area, along with reclamation of the roadway surface, meaning reconstruction of the streets, but the curb would remain in place. Within Cedar Highlands 5th Edition, which includes Georgetown Way, Georgetown Court, and the portion of 170th Street, water main replacement is really providing the impetus for reconstruction of the streets in this area. That would necessitate the complete replacement of concrete curb and gutter in the area, and also storm sewer rehabilitation in the area. You can see there are some localized drainage issues within this particular area of the project, but what really is the driving factor in the reconstruction of the streets in this particular area is the replacement of the water main. Everywhere else in the project area, complete street reconstruction is proposed. That would include complete curb and gutter replacement. Our preliminary estimates of curb and gutter replacement needs in the project area were between 60% and 70%. In the past, the city did complete analysis looking at the cost-benefit analysis of spot curb and gutter versus complete curb and gutter replacement, and have found that in instances where more than 60% of the curb was in needing of replacement, it became more cost-effective to completely remove all the curb as opposed to paying contractors for the labor associated with picking up and moving from place to place within the project area. Spot sidewalk replacement is also proposed beyond Flagstaff Avenue, where all of it is going to be removed and replaced and widened. Any structurally deficient sidewalk within the project area would be replaced on an as-needed basis. In addition, there are storm sewer improvements that are going to be added to the project area in order to correct some localized drainage issues that exist. The city's assessment policy, the estimated assessments for the project, and again, at this time, they are only estimates, are for properties within Niagara Village, $1,083.48 per townhome unit. And those are for those property owners that live along Flagstaff Court, north and south within Niagara Village. Within Cedar Highlands 5th Edition, where the water main replacement is driving the reconstruction of the streets in that area, the estimated assessment is $1,924.26. Those assessments are calculated based on surface improvements to those areas that otherwise would have been necessitated by the age and condition of the streets and not necessarily by the work that's associated with the water main replacement in that particular area. Everywhere else within the project area where complete street reconstruction is proposed, storm sewer improvements and spot sidewalk replacement, the estimated assessment is $4,471.51 per single family unit and $2,235.76 per townhome unit. Now, as we talk about these different areas, I thought I'd provide some maps to show you a little more geographically where the different project areas are. You can see what's highlighted in purple there is Niagara Village 2nd Edition, and those are the assessments for those property owners that live along Flagstaff Court, north and south. Everything else on the map there is shown in blue. Those are the assessments associated with the reconstruction, complete reconstruction of the streets. And as we talk about Cedar Highlands, a map here delineating the different editions. Cedar Highland 5th Edition consists of those properties identified in green on that particular map. Those properties identified in blue elsewhere are considered the reconstruct areas and following that assessment schedule. The city's assessment policy does state that project costs are assessed at 40%. This includes street and storm sewer improvements only, and those properties benefiting from the improvements are to be assessed. That would include any townhomes that have their driveway access off of Flagstaff Avenue, such as those on the Sunrise Village townhome development, similar to any other property owner on Flagstaff Avenue. Because their driveway access is on Flagstaff, they would also be assessed for those improvements. Water main and sanitary sewer improvements, however, are not assessed to the benefiting property owners. Those improvements are proposed to be funded by city utility funds. Properties are assessed on a per unit basis for properties owned for single family use. The city's assessment policy indicates that townhomes are to be assessed 1/2 of a single family unit, and that is how we were determined those assessment rates that I shared with you earlier for the townhomes. Corner lots are only assessed 1 unit, and it's for either the side or front of the property. The assessments are determined either by driveway location, house orientation, or past assessments. So for those folks that live on corner lots, if both of their streets adjacent to their property are being improved, they are still only assessed 1 single family unit and not 2. Assessments can be paid without interest prior to December 31st of 2014. The assessments would be spread over a 20-year period at approximately 4 to 5% interest to be determined at the time of bond sale. Assessments would be considered at a separate hearing scheduled at this time, tentatively for April 21st of 2014. So this is the public hearing to discuss the improvements. There will be a separate opportunity for residents to comment on the assessments in April. The first payment, if this project moves forward, would be made with taxes payable in 2015. There is a senior citizen deferral available for those residents that qualify. There is additional information available to residents that have questions about this on what constitutes qualifying for this deferral, but deferment would end upon death, sale of the property, transfer of the property, or loss of homestead status. And again, if there are questions about deferral of assessments, we'd be happy to share that information with residents on a one-on-one basis. And with that, I will turn it back to Mr. Petrie to talk about the project schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Heil. Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So here we are this evening on November 18th, giving you an overview of the project, and this is the project public hearing. If the council at the end of this evening chooses to move forward, and for the benefit of everyone in the audience, the schedule would be what you see in front of you. We would design the project over the course of the winter. We would then advertise for bids, of course, and plan to open bids on March 6th of 2014. Then we would, of course, declare the costs, the actual assessment amounts, and set an assessment hearing on March 17th. Then, as Ms. Heil mentioned, we would hold an assessment hearing tentatively scheduled for April 21st of 2014, and that same evening we would look for the council to award the construction contract. With that, construction would take place from May through November of 2014, and then, as Ms. Heil mentioned, assessments would be certified at the end of December in 2014. So in front of you for consideration tonight, of course, is first to conduct the public hearing and then to consider a resolution ordering the improvements and authorizing the preparation of plans and specifications and advertisements for bid for the project. And with that, myself and Ms. Heil would stand for any questions.
Item number 9 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Well, those were the highlighted items presented to the council at their November 18th, 2013 meeting. If you have any questions or comments regarding these agenda items, please feel free to call City Hall. The number is 952-985-4400. Thanks for watching this edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up. Ho, 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 ho! Happy holidays, everyone! Santa Claus here!
And I'm Officer Greg Jensen of the Lakeville Police Department. The annual Toys for Tots drive has begun. You can do your part to help the less fortunate children in our community.
If you would like to donate a new unwrapped toy, drop boxes are located at Lakeville City facilities.
Get into the spirit of the season and make a donation to this important cause. Right, Santa?
Right, Greg! Make a donation today to help make Rudolph's Day.